You are listening to the Pencil and Paper Podcast Network.
Siblings, welcome back.
Happy Monday again.
Yes, it's another summer week. I don't know what I don't know what my week looks like right now. It's work. It's about
Probably.
all that's going on, I'm sure.
Probably still trying to get my car fixed.
No.
Yeah, they had like some recall on it, and apparently dealerships take 20 years to get into anymore.
Oh.
So, yeah, apparently if I get locked in my trunk, I'm just screwed.
Oh.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Good to know.
I got to go get that fixed so I can get out of my trunk.
Yeah, because you get in there all the time.
No, I mean, I get the point, like safety issue if I'm shoved in my trunk, and someone steals my car, sure. But it was just funny reading the recall. I was like, well, maybe I'll just not go into there then.
Maybe. I mean, that's the inkling you have. It's like,
right.
I don't know if I'm going to go in there.
Now, granted,
but
against my will, I don't,
Yeah.
I don't know about that. But
So I thought we would take a suggestion or run with a suggestion because our good friend Dava mentioned something about cartoons and old cartoons. And since we talked about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and that
brought back so much fun.
Nostalgia. Oh, yes. I thought we would just kind of go on about cartoons. Now, we're definitely going to have to rein this one in because I'm sure we can go all day.
Oh, for sure. And the
All
fact
day.
we probably watched such different ones, too. Maybe.
Yeah. Now,
We'll see.
do we want... I don't want to just stick with... The very first instinct I had here would be Saturday morning cartoons.
Sure.
But I feel like we might have to just expand that just a little bit. I don't want to just adhere to that because that's a very narrow... It's a huge...
Right, and it did rotate.
huge.
I mean, we did have different ones, but I remember vast Looney Tunes on for Saturday mornings,
So there may be some wiggle room here. So not everything's going to be Saturday morning cartoons, but I'd say a portion of them would be Saturday morning cartoons.
Right.
Now,
Or was featured, yeah.
Yeah. So I wanted to start with this because, man, if there was something I did with my money, that I told you that I got, it was this. And look, the game brought back nostalgia, okay?
Sure.
The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, you know what? Is this streaming somewhere?
The ones we remember?
Yes, the 80s.
Yes.
Now,
Yes.
you can find a lot of the newer stuff. I know.
Which I don't like, and maybe I'm just a grumpus.
Well, the Nickelodeon show that they did, not the newest one.
Oh, wait,
which
you
I
were
think,
telling me that, right?
Yeah.
I should check it out.
I've heard that's really good, so I need to go back. I've watched a few episodes here and there, like hit or miss, just kind of checking it out, and I was actually impressed with it. So I need to commit to watching it and all that. I'm not sure about Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. There are changes that they made, which are
one
fine.
where they look mean? Where they seem to draw them so sharp?
That one was a cartoon that came out in 2003 on Fox.
Okay.
And that was just Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Maybe that's the one I didn't care for myself. Personally?
That's fine. I remember watching some of it. It was, it's all right.
Maybe I should have given the stories more of a chance instead of me looking, that's not turtles. Why do they look so mean and hateful? And
Well, they definitely tried to age it up a little bit and make it a bit more serious. And some of the stories I was actually impressed with because they fleshed them out a little bit more. But I'm gonna piggyback off of that in a second because I went and looked to see if I could find the original 80s cartoon. And nowhere streaming specifically, but you could buy them.
oh, okay.
$10 a pop.
Yeah.
Which is a deal and a ripoff.
Do you get all of them?
Not all
For
of
the
them.
$10?
Not all of them. No. I wish.
Right? Yeah.
$10 a season, which is a ripoff.
9 seasons, right?
10.
10? There was 10? Wow.
Ripoff and a deal depending on which season you buy. Okay? Season 4 has well over 30 plus episodes.
Okay.
$10.
That's huge.
There you go.
Yeah.
I mean, if you think about it, that's a pretty good deal.
Well, back in the day, it was 24, 26 was considered a full season when we had single cam.
So this kind of has that syndicated episode count where they stretch it out a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Like, hell, some cartoons, they could say season 1 at 65 episodes.
Right? What are you doing?
It's like, no, they aired every day.
Yeah, right. Like a soap.
Right. So that is a deal. Mm-hmm. But you go to season 1, and that's a ripoff because you're only getting 6.
How dare they?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you make that with another one? That's too huge.
Yeah.
That's too huge of a gap.
$5, okay, but that...
Or make season 1 and 2 together.
Right. Or something.
Well, yeah, come on, guys.
Yeah, that felt like a huge ripoff.
Take advantage of our nostalgia.
But I paid for it. After I looked at it, I was like, God,
I complained the whole time, but I was typing in my password.
So I didn't buy them all because at some point I was looking and I was like, all right, I need to stop.
Right.
Because I was like, ooh. And the reason I was sitting there going, ooh, 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 is because there were episodes that I remembered. Now, I could not remember for the life of me the original episode, like the pilot episode.
I probably wouldn't either. Yeah.
So that was one of the reasons I went for season 1. I was like, I want to rewatch that original episode.
Sure.
And it's interesting because the animation looks different. Like, their faces, for starters, are very round. Like, they have this very rounded mouth shape with a line down the middle.
Very bubbly.
Yeah. Which they polished over time. Then Vernon, who, Vernon, he talks like this.
Yeah.
He was in there and had a completely different voice.
Which changed actors, eh?
And he was like, he wasn't that Vernon. He wasn't stuck up Vernon. He was like, come on, April, we gotta go. We gotta do this thing now. And I was like, who is this guy? This isn't Vernon.
Had a change of heart.
Right. So I'm assuming that character evolved at some point. I didn't see Irma in that episode, so I'm curious to see how that character shows up.
Yeah.
And even Byrne, because that was just like the news crew out on the street. Mm-hmm. But there were episodes that I remember because I didn't get to watch the early episodes on syndication because I think they were on Fox in my town is where they would syndicate them.
But yeah.
So it wasn't until, like, I would catch them every now and again because my grandparents had an antenna that could pick up Fox pretty good. So we would run up there sometimes and check it out. Uh-huh. But it was just depending on the time of day. But
add that aluminum foil. Get that bigger reach.
Yeah, guys, you have no idea. If you have no idea what an antenna is and watching TV on an antenna.
We had the working TV on top of the non-working TV.
I've done that.
Mm-hmm. They used to be those huge boxes with the actual clickers where the remotes were just clickies with maybe up and down for the volume. Or maybe.
Yeah.
I usually change the channel. I'm sure all of us my age remembers having to be the one to change the channel for the parents. But yeah, it broke. New one right on top. Done.
Yep. That's what
that
you do.
Used to be a you might be a redneck if joke, I bet.
Oh, yeah. I have no doubt. Funny enough, we had one of those, like, this was one of those old big box TVs that when my parents had upgraded, they shoved that one off to our bedroom. Like, I think it was my brother's room. So it was kind of our,
Yeah.
We get to have it. But what was interesting about it, and it bugged me for so long, for a while, until I got in my head, the technical part of my brain is like, there's something wrong here. Because we had hooked up our Super Nintendo to it, and the picture was always, like, fuzzy. Like, it was just blurry. And I was like, why is it so hard to see? Mm-hmm. And it just bugged me for the longest time, and we never did anything about it. And then finally I was just like, you know what? I'm sick of this shit. So I pulled it back and looked at the back and started trying to find, like, knobs and stuff like that, and eventually found this little knob that adjusted focus, and I was like, I'll be damned. So I adjusted it and cleared that son of a bitch up, and I was like, yes! Finally!
I was going to say, if it was like the adapter for the Atari where it had the prongs and you had to screw it into the TV, I actually had one that had the little, it had a switch on it.
Yeah,
so that you could just switch it back and forth. Yep.
The RF adapters, yes!
Yeah.
I know that's not cartoons. Anyway.
No, I know, we're deviating again.
But
Dang it,
anyway.
what's wrong with us? Anyway. Turtles.
Turtles. Yeah, what I was trying to get at is it was until the cartoon made the move to CBS and started being like a Saturday morning cartoon, that's when I started watching it. And what's interesting about it, and I'm almost positive about this, the day that it premiered, the very first episode that premiered was the episode with Slash, the Dimension X turtle.
Okay.
And if I'm not mistaken, before that came out, he was a toy. Like I was aware of Slash.
Okay.
And
I feel aware. I don't know if I had a toy though. I know I had Ninja Turtle toys, but
I know I did not have a Slash toy. I'm almost positive of that. I'd have to really think hard to remember what turtles I did have, but didn't have a Slash. But
I had the van even.
See, I didn't even have that. I just had random characters here and there.
Yeah.
All right, so we're gonna have to do this.
Yeah,
Donnie,
yeah,
Mikey.
Uh-huh.
I'm almost positive we had all four.
I had an April because all the boys in my neighborhood forced me to play her every time. I was, even as a child, I was upset about this. It's like, why? I want to be a turtle. But anyway, so I played April.
No, I don't. I never. I'm almost positive we had all four turtles. I had Mondo Gecko.
Ooh.
Shredder.
Yes.
Rocksteady.
Yes. I think
I
Bebop had one though, because they had to come.
I just had Rocksteady. I didn't have Bebop. I don't think I had Bebop. Damn it. I feel like there's another one in there somewhere that I can't remember. I had a handful. I know that.
There was a huge set. Casey Jones, I think, was one though too, because I want to say I got it probably after the first or second movie.
Yeah. Oh, we did have Splinter. I do remember having Splinter. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, and then I even had the van they could play, or like her news van thing.
Yeah. I didn't have the van.
Yeah.
Damn it.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway,
Mom spoiled me, but yes.
But yeah, Slash was the very first episode that I'm almost positive that was the very first one that aired, and I ran to the phone to call my friend. And I was like, "Oh my God, did you see Slash?"
Yep.
Why that was such a big deal, but I just remember that excitement. It was like, "Oh my God," because he was like the equivalent at the time of characters like Venom to Spider-Man, like the evil version. Like, oh my God, was he as cool as Venom? I mean, looking back on it now,
I guess
still.
It's per person, right?
Yeah, because he's like, I want my binky.
Yeah, that's too much.
Because it's his palm tree or whatever.
Yeah.
Binky. Doesn't matter. But point being is that I went back and started watching a few episodes that I remembered. Because having the TV and all that, we also had VCRs.
Yeah, that's a sweet gig.
And, I'm sure you did the same thing. You had a VCR, VHS tapes. My brother and I had tapes upon tapes.
Oh, yeah. I used
cartoons.
to record it myself so I could cut out the commercials, so I could have my own commercialist copy at home.
Yep. Mm-hmm. That's what we did. We had like these VHS tapes that would hold up to 8 hours.
Yes!
We would, like Saturday mornings, man, it was just like,
Pop
it's time to go.
Pop that tab out so nobody would record over it, baby.
That's right. Yeah, it was, what was it? Okay, so we're going to go down this rabbit hole, see if I can remember what cartoons we had, and we can talk about them.
Okay.
Because I'm sure there are more. But our Saturday morning cartoon tapes. Mm-hmm. Garfield and Friends.
Sure.
Looney Tunes.
Mm-hmm.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Mm-hmm.
There was
have He-Man?
No. See, He-Man was one of those. Now, that was a show that I only watched.
I mean, we might have been still a little too young, even, maybe, for when He-Man was new.
No. He-Man, like, I remember watching it, but I had to be at the babysitter's house.
Oh.
Because it was on Fox, syndicated, but we didn't have that.
Sure.
So, anytime we were at the babysitter's house, you
got to watch it there.
He-Man, GoBots, Voltron. I mean,
Transformers had their own too for a bit.
Yeah. The gamut.
Thundercats.
See, I didn't get all these cool cartoons until, like, I had to stick with 2, 4, and 5, man. Those are my channels. Now, granted, I don't know how that is for you. ABC, CBS, and NBC.
I don't remember, to be honest. I think we probably had some regular basic cable package, whatever was offered in the day, just to turn it on, so you didn't necessarily need rabbit ears to get TV eventually. And then you'd have like 30 channels, and it's like, oh my God. Yeah.
So there was there are 2 cartoons that I'm going to bring up, and I want to see if you've ever heard of them.
Oh.
Because there was one that I feel like should be on Disney Plus. I wish to God it would wind up on Disney Plus, but it has somehow disappeared through the zeitgeist. Somehow. DuckTales was another one, by the way.
Yes! I had that in my head already, but DuckTales.
But there was this Disney show, and I don't know what they were trying to achieve, but it was just this bizarre show called Raw Tunage. And it was like a Saturday Night Live, well, I wouldn't even say that, a sketch cartoon show. So it would feature, there was a character called Bonkers, who was like a bobcat.
Okay.
And he actually got his own spinoff where he was a cop. There was the one character that I loved the most, and apparently is not even a Disney character, and this might be why it got, like, you can't find it anywhere, because I think there's some legal ramifications.
Probably, maybe,
The character's name was Marsupilami. He's yellow with polka dots, and he would hang around with this large ape who was just like dense. But Marsupilami was like always running his mouth, had this long tail. And I found out that there was a movie of this character, but it's like a French movie. So it's like he's a character owned by someone else that they then co-opted for this, turned him into a Disney character, and now
people want their money.
But you can't find any of those things unless you go to like an old.
That would make sense.
And that I went through it and I figured it out. That's why it's not on Disney Plus.
There you go. Just need to talk it out loud.
It was just this bizarre show.
Well,
it was just
most of
random.
them were pretty weird, bad, horrible. Some of them were actually maybe light topics.
If I can find it, there was this one, and I got obsessed with it. I've even drawn pictures of it, mind you, okay? Like when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And it was the craziest little thing is, like I said, a lot of the little sketches in there would be based on those 2 main characters or whatever. And then they would throw in some other stuff here and there. But then they would have these little off-the-wall random sketch ideas. So it could just be, I think there was like a dog who was a surgeon. So they were making fun of Doogie Howser, but it was like Doggy Howser.
Yeah.
So stupid shit like that. There was this one, and it was called Badly Animated Man. And he was this superhero who was trying to stop this crook or help this guy. And everything about this character was just badly animated in every single way. Some of the bits were just a little, like, I didn't feel like they thought it through. Like it would just be like he's framed upside down or something like that. But just some of the other bits that they would do where he would just stand there frozen while everybody else is moving would be funny because like it's bad animation.
Because he's not animated,
Instead of walking into frame, he just slid in. Just random stuff like that. And I was like, that's hilarious.
Yeah, that's fun.
And that was like one of my all-time favorite bits. So if I can find that on YouTube somewhere, I'll send that to you.
Oh, please, because I don't know if this missed me or just because my brain doesn't work anymore. But yeah.
It was a bizarre show. Give me one because I've got another one, but I want to hear one that's popping in for you.
Well, we almost talked about it. Like Inspector Gadget, I think, was one that I watched quite a bit. I do remember sitting down and I'm pretty sure that was on Saturday mornings also, or on Sunday mornings. And I remember that wasn't even on that long. Surprisingly, I actually was looking it up this morning to see, and I was like, in my head, in my child head, it ran forever.
No.
And I was like, oh, it really wasn't on that long.
Did you ever see, since you brought it up, did you ever see an episode And I'm almost positive this had to be the pilot episode where he had a mustache.
Yes.
That freaked
Vaguely.
me the fuck out.
Yeah, it didn't work too well. But,
No.
but we are also talking about a guy whose arms and legs can,
Sure.
you know, go gadget arms, you know. Inspector Gadget.
We never did get to see Dr. Claw, did we? Who was always just the arm in the chair.
I think so, which is beautiful. Leave it.
Yeah. And then they had to go show him in that damn movie. Do we want to talk about
No. I like to pretend certain things don't exist. But
Yeah.
But the Smurfs was another one that I kind of remember
Yeah.
watching. I don't remember being glued to it, but I if it was on as a kid, of course, I remembered watching it and just sitting there. Tailspin
Yes.
was also one that was more short-lived than I remember in my childhood. Of course, I don't know if it would work now. Would it now be considered boo-boos in our past?
No.
I don't know. Like,
They-
I'd
they-
have to see how they interpreted everything again, like in my head. I'm like, I don't know. And I'm just letting this stuff go in my brain because it's animated.
Well, they actually kind of touched on the show in DuckTales, the reboot.
I don't think I saw the reboot.
They reused certain characters in there, and I'm almost positive Baloo showed up.
Okay.
I could be wrong, but they incorporated a lot of those old Disney afternoon cartoons into that DuckTales show to kind of roll it over and just be like, hey,
Gotcha.
now it all together. Even like the Rescue Rangers, which they didn't. I feel like I'd have to go back because it was
Yeah.
like the last season, but they showed them, but I don't think they really did like an adventure with them that I remember.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't see that version.
Versus someone like Darkwing Duck, who they actually like. He became an important character
Yeah.
in the show, so much so, and I recommend this if you want to go check out the reboot. Like, I stand by
Like a
it.
good
I was
reboot?
really impressed with the DuckTales reboot on Disney Plus, or well, it was on
And
Disney Channel.
is this new or just newer than the original?
Yeah, these came out like a few years ago.
Oh,
Like,
okay,
It
so
just
pretty new.
recently ended its run, and they were, put new spins on a lot of stuff. Darkwing Duck specifically, what the story they did with him,
Yeah.
I was really impressed.
Oh man, now I got to go back. I can find it on Disney. You say?
Yeah, Disney Plus. Go
Okay.
just look up
We have
DuckTales.
Disney Plus, I think, or someone's Disney Plus.
But it was, if I'm not mistaken, it was like a 2-part episode, and Darkwing Duck was a character on television, and Launchpad was his biggest fans. Like, oh my God, I love that. And they've kind of tweaked it to where he's just like a washed-up actor who is trying to relive his glory days.
Yeah. Okay.
And it's just not quite working out for him anymore. But then now they're wanting to do a reboot, and how that makes him feel, and just there's a lot that goes on, and especially the road it goes down to where it winds up. Oh my God, that was like beautiful storytelling that I don't even want to spoil here.
Okay. I guess I
But-
gotta go.
Yeah, you
go.
gotta check
I
it
got
out.
a weekend. I could do something.
Especially if you're familiar enough with Darkwing Duck. I don't want to say you have to know everything, but if you're
I would probably need a
familiar
refresher on that, but I do remember watching it,
enough, yeah.
so it
If
might
you-
come
if-
back to me.
if you know some of the basics. It was just like I could not be any more impressed with what they did.
Yeah.
Like, it was just so good.
I need
But
to
anyway,
go back then.
continue.
And dude, come on, Street Sharks.
Street Sharks.
Come on. Like, I had to do some looking today because I was like, you know what? There's got to be. Yeah, that was another one I remembered watching for. I think I was a little too old to like be glued to it by that point. But I mean, Street Sharks, man, just
Hey, that was during
just
the
the whole concept was just amazing. During that time frame, I don't know.
it was that whole we got to copy Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Kinda,
boom.
but now
'Cause-
we're sharks.
What was the other one? Like Biker Mice from Mars,
Oh, maybe yes. Ooh.
Toxic Crusaders.
Toxic Crusaders. Yep.
There was tons of them.
Oh my gosh!
It's like whatever you could do. What thing could we mutate and turn into freaks
and make them heroes or not? I mean,
yeah.
I guess anti-hero, but whatever.
I'm sure someone will remind us of all these.
Right. The problem with me though is I don't remember specific episode details, maybe, or story through lines or whatever.
Sure.
But I can remember sitting there and watching them all, and. Yeah, those were the few that I wrote down that as soon as I was, you know what, I remembered watching that for a little bit. And then some of the other ones I was seeing that was popular, it's like I was too old by then.
Mm-hmm.
I was too old.
Not to run back to the Turtles for a moment, but I want to kind of bring this up because I found this to be a little fascinating. And one of the reasons I'd like to watch some of the later seasons, because I'd say season 6, maybe 7, but I'm pretty confident 6. It was about when I stopped watching. I think my age was kind of hitting.
It did go into about mid to late 90s, right? Because it started early 80s, or late 80s, I mean, ish. Yeah, 87,
and about 10
seasons.
Something
like that, yeah.
96, 97.
Yeah, that would probably be about my cutoff, too.
So somewhere in there, like I didn't catch a lot of it, but I know they kind of rebranded it a little bit because they wanted it to be tougher and darker, you know, because
the ones
all these
I
other
didn't like because they look
cartoons. Well, I mean, this was still the same through line. It's just like they redesigned the Turtles. So instead of, because the one you're talking about, or the one I think you're talking about,
that I just keep hanging up on for whatever.
They had, in that one they had the white eyes. Like they do in the comics.
Yeah, it was just so sharp. All their edges were so sharp. Yeah,
Now, with the last 3 seasons of the original series, they tweaked their masks a little bit. They didn't have the white eyes, but they had a darker look to them, you know. And they even changed the theme song. Yeah.
Older teenagers.
Because this was about the time X-Men was popular, Batman was popular, and they're just like, we've got to compete with that. So we got to change things. And try to be hip to the kids.
I mean, they were teenagers for 10 years.
They were. So
that's the worst age timeline to be stuck in forever.
I would,
constantly a teenager. Ugh, always angsty and angry and upset, and knowing everything. Oof.
But you love pizza. So
you did love pizza. You do.
Anyway, what I found interesting about this particular show that I don't feel like a lot of shows prior to this did is there was kind of a narrative through line that you would see that carried over. One particular that I can remember, and again, keep that in mind with a lot of these shows back then, they didn't care. They was just like, this is for kids. They're not going to give a shit, you know, just tell a story.
Well, the stories I still think were for the parents who probably had to sit there and watch it with their child. So you could be a little entertained, at least.
But the through line would always seem to be the Technodrome and Krang and Shredder, and say I don't remember. I think in the very first season it was on Earth, obviously. Then at some point it wound up in Dimension X.
Yeah.
And then in another season they get out of Dimension X, fall into the ocean. So it was like this through line that, you know, these would be plot points that would then carry over into another season. So it was never like the Technodrome is just in this one place. It wasn't like Snake Mountain from He-Man. This was something they were trying to get out of its situation, and every time they would try to do something, it would just make it worse. It was like, So... But that's interesting to me because for a kid's show, it was just like, and you can kind of tell what season you're in because of where the Technodrome is.
where the backdrop, right?
So I always found that to be interesting as I was looking at that. I was like, oh yeah, that's pretty cool because it's very loose, but it's still there. There's a through line. So even if there's a little character growth, they follow through with it. They don't just be like, no one cares. So I like that.
Yeah, for sure.
And you didn't get that a lot in Saturday morning cartoons until the 90s, and then they started being like, okay. Because X-Men, let's talk about X-Men.
Yes. That was a big
90s.
deal then, too. Yeah.
The
early
theme song was banging. And, I mean, we're talking narrative through lines that really just, it was a serialized show.
Yeah.
If you did not watch from beginning to end, at times you could be lost and be like, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
Like season 2 I think, is the one that it was like from beginning to end, every episode was a to be continued. With rare exception, did they have a one-off, and if they did, it would be a focus on a character, but then there would be like a stinger at the end that would continue, because I think in season 2, Xavier and Magneto had gotten stuck in the Savage Land, and there was that whole through line with Sinister. So even if the episode was focused on one character, they would still come back to them, and then that would be your continuation to the next, and to the next, and to the next.
Yeah.
And that all paid off. So I missed so much of that the first season, or during that first run, because I had a buddy of mine was recording them for me, and if he missed an episode,
you missed an episode,
and I'm just sitting there going, I don't know what happened last
until
week.
it's on a rerun.
Yeah.
And you catch it, hopefully.
No, it wasn't until like the series showed up on DVD that I ever got to see everything in completion.
Wow.
Yeah. Like I'd seen most of them, but not.
I would probably say that's most of all of the cartoons I ever watched. I probably didn't see all of them.
Yeah. So.
Just when you remember to sit down. I'm kind of surprised you didn't watch the Mega Man series.
I did.
Oh, you did? Oh, okay.
Yeah. No. I just hadn't got around to it.
Sorry.
No,
Of course, I don't know. How long have we already been talking? Are we going out of mini territory?
No, I'm keeping
I
an eye
forget
on
when
the
we
time.
started.
I'm keeping an eye on the time.
Whatever. If it's non-mini, you guys are used to it.
Nah, it's fine. No, Mega Man came out. It was an odd thing for me to catch because I never could find it on a normal channel. As weird as it may be to say.
Yeah, like on just a channel anyone could get with rabbit ears.
Well, it was.
By then you might have had cable, but
no. At that time, we had satellite.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because you talk about a big upgrade.
Right?
Because we were out in the middle of nowhere, okay? And then one day we go from antenna to satellite dish.
Right.
And it was like, oh, shit.
Look at these channels.
And for if anybody out there has ever had a satellite dish, like the old big...
We never did dish, so I don't know. Yeah.
Okay. Let me explain how different that world is. Because I would find things that probably people shouldn't have been digging for. But it was all about finding a signal.
Sure.
I found out, and I'm not that this is a crime, but just so you know, I found out who shot Mr. Burns before that episode aired. Because I found a feed
in a country where it was airing already,
I guess,
or something.
Yeah,
interesting. They would pick up that much, and yet I can't get AT&T to keep my signal for 2 minutes in 2022. Yeah.
It's amazing because
things were built better, though. I think they were built more to last.
Because it was all about finding signals, and these signals, it would be these channels, but it would have to hit like a certain satellite or something, and then you just and then you find it, and then boom, and then you find this, and then boom, and I would just find dead channels. It would just be the color bars, and then suddenly you'd see the episode description over the color bar, and it was like, what is going on here? So it was like some odd feed that the studio or some network was running. You should have tried to make
money off of that.
I know.
Kid. Go to your other little kids. I bet you $5 it's blah blah blah.
Dude, they were taking bets in Vegas. I could have done that. Well, if I was of legal age, I wouldn't have been. But yeah, it was just like insane. The stuff I would find.
Dang, you're one Back to the Future moment.
I know it. So it was fun playing around with that, but I got way off topic. Anyway, that's how I started watching Mega Man, because I couldn't find a dedicated channel to it, so I would find this one network,
move it around.
And it wouldn't even be a local network. It would just be some other channel, and I was like, all right, cool. And I would hope that I had the right time and day that I could find it, and there it is.
There you go. Yeah, when we had to pay attention to that. What times it come on? It's on tonight.
Yeah. It was hard to find for me, and I can't say I don't want to. I appreciated what they were doing, but looking back on it, it's one of those goofy cartoons where they try to take it seriously, but then they'll do something stupid, like Rush, his dog, was always whoa, whoa, and being kind of goofy, silly Scooby-Doo, and you're just like, you're losing me, man. Just rein that in. Just come on back. Pick a
lane. Pick a lane. Yeah.
Be serious or don't.
Yeah.
But again, they were stayed true to the idea of the cartoon or the video games. I mean, and I mean it was fun for what it was. I just don't know if I could say that it was so
didn't
great.
Hit the spot you were hoping it would hit. Yeah.
It
for
hit
being a fan of the game.
Right.
Maybe?
It hit a few notes. Like I would. And I don't want to knock this either, but of course it didn't seem like it lasted either. But that Mega Man Fully Charged that came out on Cartoon Network a few years back, he was like Mega Man, but he's a kid in school, and it was just
I maybe heard about it. I can't remember the last time other than like an anime plugged into a cartoon. It's probably been a minute.
Yeah, it was definitely.
And
not
I don't want to say anime cartoon. I know that's huge, divisive. Please don't. I wasn't disrespecting it. I love it. I understand the fandom. Please don't. Please don't.
I mean, I don't want to. What am I trying to say here? I'm not the age range that Fully Charged was for. Let's just put it that way.
Right.
So I think it was just didn't appeal to me. It came out a few
years ago.
Yeah, and they did like
past it. Yeah.
10, 15-minute episode. That whole.
Well, at least they weren't asking a lot of your time, I guess.
Yeah, but it was just like, there's no room for character development and growth and stuff like that. So it was just like, you're taking him and you're putting him in this situation. Now he's going to fight a robot that's like one of the other robots that we know from the game. And it's like, oh, okay, cool. And it was just like, And then they would use music from the games, but tweaked, and you'd be like, Right.
It's just a little bit of a nod, like, I see what you did there.
Yeah, it's just, it wasn't enough for me to be all excited about. So, but the original cartoon, it scratched an itch. I'll say that. But that's about all I can say about it.
Sure, yeah. Those are probably the ones that I remember the most. Although I did have to do an honorable mention to like Chip and Dale's Rescue Rangers, which we did talk a little bit about that. And then very briefly, Danger Mouse.
Yeah, Danger Mouse. Count Duckula.
There you go. Yes.
I love that.
Yeah.
But why can't we find that? I guess I should say
briefly. Danger Mouse was actually on a while, wasn't it? Maybe over a decade. Yeah.
Like, where's Count Duckula on streaming? Because I've seen Danger Mouse, and they actually did a Danger Mouse remake or reboot.
Did they really?
I'm almost positive I've seen that.
I don't know where. Old or new again, huh?
I'd say, where would it be? It's one of the streaming platforms. I know it's out there.
Gosh, well, now there's so many that it's hard to find stuff on those now, too. I'm sure you're right, though.
I want to go look up the old Danger Mouse.
Yeah. Hold on. I had one
Netflix, up. Paramount Plus, maybe.
Let's see, Danger Mouse. Let's see, Danger Mouse streaming.
Tell everybody live right now.
Everybody. Well, it says watch Danger Mouse Classic Collection on Netflix, but sometimes Google's been deceiving, and you click it, and Netflix actually no longer has it.
Yeah,
so
you know what?
It does look like it's still there.
That was the crap that happened to me with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Sons of bitches.
They've gotten me several times that way with movies I was looking for.
I searched, and it was the picture of the old 80s show, had the logo, everything, and it says, now watch on Netflix. I was like, click! And it was the one I was talking about that's actually pretty good, but it wasn't what I wanted to watch.
Yeah, like the old
I was like, you lie! Yeah.
Yeah.
I was pretty mad.
And then, of course, we just have to say She-Ra. We were talking about
She-Ra.
With having all of that. When we finally had, like, a badass chick in the cartoon.
I don't know how you feel about it, and I'm going to say this with absolute confidence, because I am a grown-ass man, and I love it so much. Mm-hmm. Every time He-Man and She-Ra both raise their sword in the air.
Yeah.
And their whole spiel goes, the music kicks in, all that.
Yeah,
I get goosebumps. I love it.
It is fun.
I don't know what it is about it, but I love it.
Yeah. No, I can agree with you there. I don't know if it gave me goosebumps, but I'm just like, I can pump.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I just love it because even hers is, I know it's equal to, it's about the same, but
it's supposed to be.
but still,
Yeah.
it still has that energy. So she's like, for the honor of Grayskull. And then the music just, and then her horse comes in. I don't even remember. Swiftwind. That's what his name was.
Jeez, you have such a good memory. I'm envious. Yes.
I hated Hordak on that show. I will say that. Like, I wanted to like him, but he was, and then he could turn into a rocket and shit. What was that?
A cartoon. I mean, she's the most powerful woman in the universe. Why wouldn't they have something
Yeah.
weird as their sidekick, though?
There was. I would hate to send you down this hole because
I'm looking at the pictures
it's
now because
such
I just had to.
it's such a disappointment in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
But if you've ever did you ever see the He-Man remake that they did in 2002?
I would say I've probably not seen anything remade. Any remakes.
There was one that was in the 90s. It was supposed to be a follow-up to the original cartoon. Sucked balls. This one was a complete reimagining. Like they said, all right, we're going to hit reset. We're going to retell the entire story, flesh out everything. This came out on Cartoon Network. Animation was beautiful. The idea of it, like we actually get to see Skeletor become Skeletor.
Right.
We see Adam earn the sword, all that growth. He's a kid who becomes He-Man, so it makes more sense when you see it.
So like an origin story.
Yeah. Everything about it was so good. Even better. Yeah. And I feel like they were leading to this. Hordak was like this benevolent being that Skeletor, I don't want to say worshipped, but he followed. Hordak was locked away, and there was this episode where Hordak was trying to get him to release him from whatever prison he was in, and Skeletor fucked him over. And it was pretty much to say, no, as long as he's there, I'm in charge. Ooh. Fuck that.
Okay.
And I was like, that is so good. Because, yes, that's what why would he let him out?
Right.
Just to become his subservient again. No, absolutely not. But they turned Hordak into this god. And I wanted to see it fleshed out beyond what they did because it got canceled in the 3rd season and left this huge cliffhanger.
Damn.
And I was so angry because I mean, they would eventually have gone to She-Ra, no doubt.
Hopefully.
And because those were like the last threads we got to see as Hordak was being introduced. So you knew that's where we were going.
Starting to bring them in. Yeah.
And it never got paid off. And that's something I want. Like if there was a show to revive, I want to see the 4th season of that. Give us that. Wrap up your story.
Give us the ending. Yeah. Wrap it up.
Because it's such a disappointment that I didn't get to see that.
That's always a shame.
Yeah.
But, those are probably my honorable mentions.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure I could go all day.
Oh, we could go on forever. Yeah. For sure. You would probably mention another one. I'd be like, oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yes.
But, hey, siblings, hit us up on Twitter.
Do the tweet.
And tell us your favorite Saturday morning cartoons.
Or we had to have missed some, or expand on the ones we already did.
Or just say childhood cartoons in general, because Saturday morning cartoons, that's the thing that doesn't even exist anymore.
Maybe not.
Sadly. It doesn't. It doesn't.
Doesn't? Okay.
No.
Because I haven't looked, and does anyone watch real live TV very much anymore anyway?
Why would we have these blocks of cartoons for children when they can just
go watch whatever everywhere? Yeah, that's true. Aw.
It's
is kind of missing that sadness of when everyone would gather around at the same time, having to experience it at the same time.
Yeah.
And then getting to chat about it later. I do miss that. We've said that before, though. So.
We have. But it is. It's a shame. Like, there's a lot that we grew up on. Mm-hmm. And, I don't want to go too deep on this because I know we're trying to wrap this up. But
yeah,
there are just little things I think about that when I think about the experience it was for us and that other people will not have. But where will... maybe the youth of today, what experiences will they have that maybe are different 30 years from now?
Oh my goodness, so much. Because I can't relate to how kids are growing up today even a little bit. I'll say that right away. My childhood was so much different than what they have access to and everything now. I probably would have been the same way if I had all this technology when I was growing up. I mean, look at how much I fell into loving video games and the internet, you know? So if I would have had it the whole time, I probably never would have gone outside either. But I'm thankful for it now in hindsight, because I did go outside and play. I did, have, the friends. We went and did stuff, and that's just how it was.
And, think about that. I mean, our parents, same way. I mean,
they kicked us out of the house.
Yeah.
Come home when the street lights are on. Get out from underneath me.
But even how they
figure it out until,
But even how they grew up. I mean,
so much different.
They didn't have, the Saturday morning cartoon.
My mom grew up on a farm in the 40s, literally picking cotton after school for her family. I did not do that even a little bit.
And there might be some element to her childhood that she's like, I wish that you could have experienced in some way, or just not picking cotton, but, just some element.
Some element of like how they I don't know. They were very poor in Mississippi growing up. So it's interesting. It was interesting listening to her stories because it's a huge stark. But if you think about it, though, I was such a huge gap. So there's three immediate generations or 3 generations in my immediate family, because my mom was older when she had me. And then there's a 20-year gap between me and my next oldest sister.
Yeah.
So even their experiences would have, I guess, been what my quote unquote parents' experiences had I been born in succession with them.
Sure.
Instead of the oopsie.
And I guess it just comes down to little things like this, like Saturday morning cartoon experiences, the video store experience.
Oh, I know.
Things like that, I mean, because that's, I can assume that.
You never know the disappointment of going to rent a movie you want to watch and it's not there and you can't do anything about it. You just have to wait till someone returns the movie to watch it.
Yep. I mean, it's.
I do like it.
The discovery you could still do on streaming, but I just feel like there's an element.
There's something about going to the video store, getting to talk to the people who are excited about the movies behind the counter. There was just something about it. And getting to browse through the aisles, probably pick a movie that you'd never heard of, would have never seen before, but there it was in the 2 for $1 or something to rent for the weekend. And you're like, you know what? Yeah. Like, there was something about that experience.
I feel like it came down to, and I feel like this is where streaming's just going to miss the mark. Mm-hmm. It's not having any other option kind of thing. Like you said, you go, you can't get it. Right. So you're just like, well,
you look for something
let's
else.
see what else.
Yeah, right.
And then you discover something else you may not have been looking for. And you're like, let's try this. Mm-hmm. And you go. And it's just like, oh my God, this is amazing. Mm-hmm. I don't know. We can go on about that's
we're like no longer a mini, but thank you for listening.
Yes, thank you for listening, siblings.
Thank you for the suggestion, Dave. Clearly, we had a lot to talk about for it.
Oh yeah, could go on. This could be another mini, I'm sure. And we can keep going.
Mini take 2.
But guys, enjoy your summer out there, and we'll catch you next week.
Bye.
This has been a Pencil and Paper Podcast Network production.